Hi, I'm David, and I'm here to give you some troubleshooting tips for the Pocket at BYU West Campus. When you're recording in the Pocket video booth, you want to make sure that your phantom power 1 through 4 is on. You'll see it glows when it's turned on. The microphone on the control desk is plugged into input 1 on the interface. The microphone in the recording booth is plugged into input 4 on the interface. You can see the inputs jumping now that it has phantom power. If I tap this microphone here, you see it starts to jump up. Or if I talk into it, you can see that it starts to go up and down. To adjust the gain or loudness of each microphone, simply twist the knobs. As I turn this up, you can see now the bars are going to be jumping a lot higher. The recording booth in the Pocket is very severely sound isolated. So your subject, when they're in the booth, will not be able to hear you nor you them unless it's through hard wires. In order for the person in the booth to hear you, you can do a talkback function one of two ways. This button on the interface, when you hold it down, will light up and you can talk into the microphone desk and it will pump through and the person in the recording booth will be able to hear you. The other way you can turn on TalkBack is through the Focusrite Control app on the desktop. Here you'll be able to toggle instead of push to talk by going and clicking talk. And now the microphone will pick up anything you say as long as that is toggled on and off. If you need to turn up the volume in the speakers, simply turn this monitor dial. And if we look in the Focusrite, you can see it's turning up all of these faders. Your main stereo left and right speakers are on inputs 1 and 2. So for most of your works, unless you're doing 5.1 mixing, you just need to worry about your monitor outputs 1 and 2. When you're in your digital audio workspace or audio editor, such as Adobe Audition or Avid Pro Tools, I guess you could also be using DaVinci Fairlight. You want to make sure that you're using the Focusrite as your output engine. To do that, you're going to go up to the top, go to Settings, and when you find Audio Hardware, you want to make sure that the Scarlett 18i20 is that input and output device. When using Adobe Audition or other digital audio workspaces, you want to make sure you have your input set to the correct microphone. So in your track, you're going to go to this input. You will always want to record a mono track and it'll show all of these different Scarlett interfaces. You're looking for inputs, not digitals. And if you want to record from the booth, it will be input 4. If you're going to be recording from the desk mic, it'll be input 1. In order to continue to hear your subject while you are between recording sessions, you want to make sure that your track is record enabled, and then you want to click this button, which will turn on input monitoring. So whatever you have going through the microphone, you will still hear no matter what. I just turned it to channel 1. So now you should see this jumping no matter what. As I turn on input, you see there are bars going, and when it's off, it'll still show, but it won't pump through the audio. But when it's on, it'll pump through that audio. When you are in a recording session with a talent or yourself, and you're in the booth, you may or may not want to hear your own voice as you're listening. On these headphone outputs, they will connect to the headphones here, but also the headphones pumping through into the recording booth. So you want to make sure that you have the correct inputs and outputs activated. Since analog 4 is the booth microphone, you will be able to turn that on and off for your subjects, and they will be able to hear or not hear themselves, because sometimes that can throw them off if they're hearing themselves in the ear. So you may want to mute it, or if they want to hear themselves, unmute it so that they can hear what's going on. You can also put a hardware input for analog 1 instead of using TalkBack, but the TalkBack function is pretty easy. So I usually just keep it to software playback 1, 2, 3, 4, and analog 4 for the hardware inputs. I highly recommend learning Avid Pro Tools. It is the industry standard digital audio workspace for film and music. And it may look intimidating, but there are classes in the music department which will teach you all the skills you need to be able to edit in Avid Pro Tools. It has a lot more functionality on automation for level writing, and it has a lot more options when it comes to plugins like equalizers, compressors, de-essers, and reverbs, and noise isolation. It's a great tool to use, but I highly recommend taking Music 251, 256, and 351 in order to learn more fully how to use this great software. If you have any additional questions, reach out to Alec Johnson or myself, and we'll hopefully be able to walk you through any issues you're having when you're recording or working, mixing in the Pocket.